This tale is, as all bard songs are, an adaptation. It may contain adult themes and strong language. Welcome, dear listeners, to Abyss.
Welcome to episode 3 of Abyss. So, who are you? What are you? And in relevance to National Periodic Table Day, which is tomorrow, what is your favourite element and why? Starting with Shiraz.
Hello, I'm Shiraz and I play Ishidoro, the Dragonborn rogue. I really hate chemistry. To me, it's akin to magic, something that I don't understand, so I'm just happy to pretend that everything is connected and works in some mysterious way. Calcium, yes, that's my answer.
Fair enough. Wednesday.
I am Wednesday, and I usually play Dum Dum Die, but now I'm playing Abyss because it's cool. And I really like titanium, because you can do really cool stuff with it, like make tongue rings.
Next we have Freya.
I'm Freya. My favourite element would be, I think I'd have to say calcium as well, just simply because my last lecture was muscles and how they work and just how important calcium is to not die.
Okay. Tauno.
Hi, I am Tauno, and I'm playing Rasthikos, the human warrior. And since calcium's been taken a few times, I'd have to say my favourite element would be hydrogen, because there's lots of it.
Fair enough. Can't really argue with that. Dragon.
Hello, I am playing Nitra, Drow hit by magic. My favourite element, I'll go with copper because I really like malachite.
And finally, Susie.
Hi, I'm Susie. I'm playing 13 the Goblin. And I've got to say my favourite element has got to be carbon, because we literally wouldn't exist without it. It's pretty important.
Fair enough. So, if someone wishes to continue with what happened last week.
Well, we've been welcomed, or a certain definition of that word, into a dwarven city, and were then made servants of a dragon that introduced itself as ruler of that city. The dragon was a bit wider around the waist and neck than most dragons, we were led to believe. We eventually
He is pretty tough.
deduced that that dragon was being, what's the word, harvested. Certain bodily liquids were being harvested by this dragon, and that it had been born in captivity. So we eventually made some snap decisions using information from various persons to encourage the dragon to break out, but also get ourselves far enough out of the city so as to not be immediately caught. And there we witnessed a Darrow going nuts and punching heads off.
Right. So, how did you end last week's episode?
We escaped through the back door of the warehouse, and 13 has 20 sample bottles of this magical
Dragon
bodily
juice.
fluid-based
Oh god.
in
Let's
here.
I
Let's just
think,
call it dragon juice.
I
Don't
think we
forget-
called it spunk last week.
That's what I have. 20 bottles of watered down magical dragons.
In a bag of paprika.
There's
Yes.
a bag
Which
of paprika.
Which
And a
I'm-
brass inkwell.
Yes,
Classic.
yes.
And 2 droties.
You did. You snaffled that as well.
Mhm. I also believe some people acquired some weapons and some very fashionable crop top chain.
Crop top chainmail, yep.
Indeed, yes. I have a slaver's whip and a one-handed sword.
Same here.
You know, for all that wonderful strength and dexterity I have.
So
You guys
if
can
I
go at the front.
remember correctly, we left town because that was we decided that
Yeah.
we're just gonna get away from this place.
You
And
left
then the
as
town-
flames started erupting from...
Yeah, the town blew up.
Yes, we definitely escaped at the perfect timing.
Because he certainly did not give us a day. He said he was going to give us a day, but that wasn't a day.
To be honest, he had no concept of time.
Yeah.
There was a clock in there.
Yeah, that doesn't
Yes,
mean
but-
he could actually read it.
Cats can look at clocks, they can't read them.
Well,
How
I
do
don't
you
know.
know?
about
Cats don't
that.
know what the time is. How do you know?
They know when they're hungry and they know when they're sleepy, and that's it.
But they know if you've
Yeah.
usually given them a treat by this time.
Yes.
So where is it? Why is it not here yet?
So we've established that this dragon specifically was a cat.
All dragons are... Well, no, dragons are insects, but...
No! Dragons are cats with wings. They are not insects and they are not mice.
We've run
I
into this
see,
long
yeah.
debate with someone for years if dragons are insects.
They have 6 limbs.
Does it have an exoskeleton? Or an endoskeleton?
I'd
That's
say
the
an
important part.
skeleton. I think they have bones inside.
Yeah, that is not an insect, I'm sorry.
Well, there's only one way to find out. We have to find a dragon and kill it and figure out what's inside it.
Yeah.
Fucking try it.
Wow,
Anywho.
that was aggressive.
Moving on.
Anywho, so you leave the sort of broken, burning remains of Grakoslau, and you begin to head along the edge of the river. The ground beneath your feet is kind of marshy. It's like sort of very thick, quite grey coloured mud.
Yeah.
And as you kind of tromp your way through it, you realise that the mud is basically like normal mud, but it's been like laced with all the soot from the forges from Grakoslau. And there's also things like discarded bodies here that look like they've been given a very impromptu burial. There's like hands and limbs sticking out of the ground that just basically just went, oh, it's close enough, and just left them.
What kind of bodies are they? Elves or
Mostly
Darrow
dwarven or Darrow.
How deep is the mud?
At the point you're at, the mud seems to be about a good like 4 or 5 inches thick. Very like splushy, thick mud that's making you kind of tired the longer you walk through it.
30 needs carried.
Yeah, Nal just picks up 30 and just places her on her shoulders, like, you know, you do with the toddler.
Everything's fine until 13 starts swinging around a bottle of dragon spunk.
Oh.
Oh, ew.
No, it's in my bag. I got the bag of
Oh, you've got the bag out? Okay, right.
13
will-
is keeping a lookout.
Can I roll an awareness check to see if I can find a way of getting out of this?
Roll.
Maybe not.
You continue on for a couple of hours. Eventually, the ground sort of begins to slightly firm up, but it's still that kind of like very grey stone.
Mhm.
And you start heading upwards, up a sort of slight hillside. As you
That's
get to
good.
the top, you find yourself on a sort of plateau, and you hear the sound of what can only be described as singing. And as you look in front of you, you see through the undergrowth, which is lots of vines and lots of like rocks and like shrubs and stuff like that, but it's all very, very dense and moss. You see what looks like some sort of bioluminescent flashing.
Is it like the mushroom type bioluminescence?
It's very much like the mushroom, yes.
Ooh.
Does 13 recognise the singing?
You know how all the mushrooms talk in your head? The singing is kind of psychic, and it seems to be like waves just all around the area. And as you progress further and closer, you notice that straight ahead of you there's like a cave entrance going back down, and in this sort of entrance is this gigantic mushroom. It's about the size of a skyscraper. It's massive, and it seems to emit this coloured light. It looks like a sort of dark purpley light sort of bathes all these small houses in dark and purple colour, and you see in front of you about 50 or 60 mushroom people. Half of them seem to be dancing and singing, and the other half seem to be very quietly looking at them, just unhappy and sort of scurrying about their business. What do you do?
Okay, so this isn't all positive if some of them are disapproving. Along with the singing, do we get any feelings along with it?
You get a sense of immense joy.
Layla is going to start walking towards the mushrooms.
Okay.
I guess we're doing that, and I start following Layla.
You walk down the sort of cave entrance path kind of thing towards the mushrooms. Immediately, all the singing stops, and they point at you, and you hear a voice in your head go, "Stranger! Stranger, 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 stranger!" And they all kind of like line up and start pointing at you. Half of them have got like huge grins on their face and start like clapping as in they're really excited to see you. The rest of them seem to sort of scurry behind objects and sort of peer over them at you.
Okay, so I raise my hands up above my head, and well, I don't speak Undercommon, so just in Common, I'm just going to say, like, we're not here to hurt you. We're just lost.
The ones that are sort of smiling, you hear a voice in your head again, like going, "Come live with us! Come live here! Come live here!" And they sort of rush towards you, take you by the hand and start like bouncing and leading you forward.
Are they very happy?
Yes.
Do I feel very welcome?
You feel incredibly welcomed, yes.
Okay, then I'm going with them.
Okay.
I think, and I don't say this, I think in my head, and I say hello, and see if there's any response.
Again, you hear the sound of, "Yay, more friends!" And more bouncing mushrooms come over and gleefully take you by the hand and lead you in.
I look back at the others and like have like this weak grin on my face. I'm like, ah.
I look at the rest of us who are still standing outside and are like, they seem too happy to have random people among them. Well, some of them do. The rest look very unhappy indeed. We shall need to be careful.
Considering that we're in the Underdark, that they so eagerly welcome strangers suggests that they can at least defend themselves, have no reason to fear newcomers.
Well, they're unlikely to have any cause to fear our two companions. Tieflings are not very common here. They would have no reason to fear them. But we shall see. I'll be interested to see their reaction to me.
The unhappy ones, or like scared ones? Are they around?
They're like peering towards the entrance, or peering towards the two welcomed guests with kind of like, not distrust, but kind of like they're not sure about them.
Yeah, now they'll just march up to one of them, I guess with 13 on their shoulders, unless 13 jumps off.
Nope, 13's quite happy. They're like bobbing along, like
and just go, "What's happening?"
It sort of looks at you, and you hear a mix of very quiet, still voice going, "Hello," and equally at the same time, 3 voices going, "Friends! New friends!" And more smiling mushrooms come over and start taking you by the hand.
I try and stand my ground and just sort of tug my hand out of theirs.
Okay, let's see what happens when you tug your hand out of theirs. They just sort of start like dancing and clapping around you and still singing "Friend" really loudly, so you can barely hear yourself think.
So 13
Yes?
has spent her lifetime in a library helping out an old wizard.
Yes.
So has she ever heard of anything like this before? Like mushroom people doing weird things? Is it a sort of weird... This is just my brain thinking here. But is this like the equivalent of like a Venus flytrap or whatever, putting out a fragrant smell, but this is the mushroom people trying to draw in prey by being like super friendly? Or...
Do a lore roll if you have it.
Okay, I do. I have 1 in lore, so that's good.
Can I also do like an alchemy?
Nice!
They're called myconids. You've heard tales of myconids, you've never heard tales of myconids leading people to doom.
Okay, so they're generally positive people.
They're not known for being outwardly emotional.
This is very odd.
And what were you going to say, Shiraz?
I was gonna say, can I roll alchemy to detect if there's any kind of chemical in the air, or some kind of something is making them behave this way, or?
There's nothing in the air that you can detect, and it does seem mushrooms that are standing literally next to each other, one of them can be bouncing off the ceiling and the other one can be completely withdrawn. So it's not something in the air.
Where are they taking us? Is there a
They're
central...
sort of dragging you towards the town centre.
Okay.
Are they still singing?
They are still singing, yes.
May I try and sing with them?
You can try, yes. So, Layla is singing away happily. What is Tris and Rasthikos doing? Rasthikos.
I'm thinking at this point, isn't it just Rasthikos and Tris that is standing at the edge?
Yes.
How similar do they look to Stool?
They look very similar to Stool.
Uh-huh. Could this have been where Stool brought the other Drow?
Was thinking the same thing.
And if so...
We have a friend here.
Perhaps, but where is he?
Let's take care of the others too much while keeping our eyes open.
Indeed.
I think Rasthikos will start walking into the area with a hand on the short sword he took from the guards.
Okay.
Not drawing it, just having a hand ready.
The mushrooms again greet you, and then squeal friend into your head, and they all take you away, quite sort of dancing, singing. So it just leaves Therese. What's she doing?
Therese walks forward and looks at the one that spoke to Nal, and kind of gestures for them to come over to her.
The mushroom looks at you, and it seems to sort of tilt its head slightly. And you notice a couple of the ones that are sort of cowering can be a bit more openly coming towards you. And then they get a little close to you, and then they look at you and go, "You! The smelling one! We like you! We know you! You smell nice!"
Thank you. How are you? Is everything okay?
They just sort of look at you blankly like they're not really sure how to respond, and then they go, "Come! You must come! You must come!" And they just sort of take you gently by the hand and lead you off.
But why were you scared of us?
They stop and they look and they go, "Because outsiders are painful."
How do they cause you pain?
They seem to sort of be reliving something, and then they sort of start twitching, and then they go, no, come, you must come now.
Okay, it's okay.
After about 5 minutes, you're all in the middle of this. You're directly under this mushroom, which has changed from a purpley colour to a sort of light violet, and all the mushrooms are sort of dancing and singing around you. Well, all the ones you can see anyway. There are other ones, like the ones that took Teresa's hand, that are standing very sort of carefully at the side, watching on, unsure what to do. At this point, one of the other mushroom people seem to sort of climb onto this platform. They seem to glow brighter than any other mushroom, and a couple of seconds later joined by another one that seems to sort of grumpily stomp over, as in they're not happy. And the first one, again, you hear in your head, because they all communicate psionically. He goes, "Friends, welcome to our humble city. I hope you will join us. We're all fun guys here."
God.
Layla
13
giggles.
laughs.
I
I
giggle.
already made that pun.
Yeah, that's why
I think-
13's laughing. She's like, you already made that joke. It's even funnier the second time. Ah!
Therese
Sitting up on
just-
Mal's shoulders.
Twitches slightly.
Now it looks like she's dying inside.
I look at 13 and I go, "Can we spare a bottle for our friends here?" Since 13 swiped them.
13 looks a bit blank and is like, yeah, sure. What? For gold.
For gold. We'll see about that. I reach into the paprika bag and dust off one of the bottles, and I hold it aloft as if it's something really great, and I say, "To new friends!" And I offer it to whoever wants it.
Okay. You offer it to the two sort of mushrooms in the middle. The first one that made the fun guy joke responds with, "Ah, you have brought your own liquid! We toast you!" And everyone seems to produce a small like thimble-sized like goblet, and they all hold it up as if they're preparing to toast with what you've got in your hand.
No, this is for you. And I kind of like open it up and start pouring it into their goblet.
Oh, ew.
So you're going to pour into the mushrooms goblets?
Oh.
Yes, please.
Okay. Let's see how
I
this goes
back
down.
off.
13's watching this with rapt
Natural
interest.
1. One of the mushrooms shoots it back and starts clutching at its throat. The rest of them come over and go, "You've poisoned him! You've poisoned him! What have you given him? You've poisoned him!"
I don't know. It's a delicacy from that city over there.
Do we have water on us?
You do to some degree, yes.
Okay. I step forward and offer water. Plain water.
Okay. You notice at this point that the mushroom started throwing up.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, Nal is just backing slowly away and starts looking for an exit.
I look at the Dragonborn. Like, please do not accidentally randomly poison the only friendly people we've come across.
Oh, I apologize. I'm really sorry. Is there anything I can do to make it better?
The two mushrooms that were thing go, "What has he given them? Bring it to me!" And one of the mushrooms grabs the jar out of your hand and brings it to him, and he sniffs it and he goes, "What is this?"
I don't know. We found it. I thought
You
it was like
found
something
it?
to bring.
Why are you
cream.
giving it to my people then?
Well, we thought you were being friends with us, so we would share something.
I see.
I didn't know it was going to be poison.
They didn't know it was going to be poison, Basidia. And the other one just grumpily sort of starts glowing brighter, and then they goes, "It's okay though. We're all fun guys. We can all put this past us, can't we?"
I nod vigorous.
Yes, please do. Please do.
Does Nal spot an exit?
13 spot an exit.
I make a mental note of the effects of the bottle
What, poisonous to mushrooms?
on living things.
So the one that was speaking goes, "Well, I suppose that you could stay here, but please don't be poisoning any more of my fun guys."
Oh, I wouldn't dream of it. No.
And he starts cheering, and everyone starts cheering and cheering the word Philo.
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 Could I do a lore check to see if I
would also
have
like to
heard
do
of
it.
this?
Okay.
Ugh.
Nope, you've not heard of this at all.
Can I try a religion check? Oh,
You could try religion if you wanted.
I nudge the closest one and ask him, "Who's Philo?"
The mushroom looks to you and says, "Philo! Philo is one of our leaders!" And
The one who keeps saying fungi?
yes, 'cause we're all fun guys!
Yeah. Yay, Philo! And I start clapping.
The mushroom tells you, "Well, you can make yourself comfortable. Here is the inn, and I will speak to you all later. Please enjoy our humble city. And remember, if you need any advice, just ask one of the fun guys." And everyone, all the mushrooms around you start losing their actual shit. Apart from the
Fine.
ones that are unhappy, they're still sort of looking at you from behind buildings and stuff at the moment.
Oh, wow.
Do we see any stool?
You don't see Stu at the moment, no.
Alright.
May I roll awareness just to look around a little bit more
Sure.
to see if there's anything interesting happening?
I ask one of the ones that's not going crazy if they have any paper. Right,
You hear a voice in your head saying, "What is paper?"
thought as much. Don't worry about it, little guy.
Around you seems to be... It's a very sort of quaint city that seems to be made mostly of mud-covered buildings. They all seem to be designed for someone who is about 3 foot tall. The inn itself, the entrance to the inn is about maybe 4 foot high. Just seems basically a small community of mushroom people. It's not that detailed, really.
Okay. So nothing really that sort of stands out or seems a bit odd.
Apart from
or-
the mushroom that's on the floor being violently sick from taking in dragon spunk, no, there's nothing really else going on.
Yeah, that's about you, yeah. Yeah.
With science.
You monster.
Science, yeah.
unethical science.
What? Well, let's see what happens.
13
So,
leans down to Nal and whispers in her ear that she could very easily pretend to be a giant monster and stomp on all the buildings.
Plan 2 if something goes wrong.
Good plan. Should I go in one of them?
Therese would like to go back to the Myconids who were a little more trusting, but the suspicious ones, and ask, generally just see if they're comfortable with what happened or not.
They seem more distrustful of you now they've watched you try and poison one of their own.
Does their psychic ability inform them that it was not deliberate?
You could try and tell them that, but for the moment they're all just sort of looking at you with a lot of confusion.
I see.
The other sort of one of the two leaders that was there, immediately their sort of light source starts like a sort of heartbeat motion.
Ooh.
And they move towards you and they go, "You, outsider, how do you know one of our own?"
Oh,
Why do they tell me you smell?
I was told by a Myconid that I smelled good. Or nice.
If a mushroom could stare, like, through you, it would. It's really not sure what to make of you. Which Myconid?
Why?
We meld. I don't know individually which Myconid were responsible. Which Myconid smelled you?
What do you mean by responsible?
We have had many come back. I wish to know which circumstance he met you.
Ah, you are worried in case I had done harm to one of your Myconids?
Yes.
No, we all were prisoners.
Then which one did you interact with? Which one smelled you?
I'm really skeptical of telling them. He gave his name as Stool.
And she looks over and immediately one of the mushrooms standing nearby sort of nods and rushes off. A couple of minutes later, Stool reappears and immediately you hear in your voice, "Nice smelling one!"
Hello, friend.
And he sort of waddles up towards you quite happily.
I look up at the other one. Like, is there a problem?
The mushroom sort of looks at you quite confused, and then you seem to get a voice in your head saying that he returned to us recently, and when he melded with the others, he shared a scene of torture and cruelty. He had been whipped and told to work. Now my people all share his grief.
Sadly, what he showed you is true. That is what happened.
He showed us that the Drow did this. Did you do this?
No. I was imprisoned along with him. Indeed, when Stool left us after the escape, did you not leave with the other Drow that had been on the chain?
Stool sort of seems to sort of shuffle his feet a little bit, and the other mushroom seems to sort of look alarmed towards him and then back to you.
Did something
and goes, where is the Drow? And Stool again sort of seems to look at his feet, shuffle a bit, and then you hear a voice from the other one going, so he has left. I see. So the other mushroom turns back to you and goes, you should not stay here. It is unsafe anymore. Philo seems to be obsessed with anything that comes its way. It wants to bring everyone to the Gardens of Welcome. I don't know what is planned there. It seems to have blocked them off for the rest of us.
Right. Some of your compatriots seemed very unhappy and suspicious, and yet...
Yes. They are the ones who have melted with Stool. They have relived his torture, his pain, his suffering, and they see that outsiders are not nice people.
So why has Philo had such a different reaction? Does he plan...
He has not melded with Stool. We do not meld with the same Myconid. This is to stop infection spreading around all of us.
I see. Is Stool and the others that he melded with safe here?
They are for now, it seems.
It seems?
The mushroom sort of seems to look around and then look back towards you and then repeats. Philo has put a fence around the Gardens of Welcome, and any of her Myconids that go into the Gardens of Welcome now return as laughing, idiotic lunatics. Something must be going on in there, but you can't go in. If anything was to happen, the rest of the town would fold really quickly.
I see.
Debating if she'd take people and leave.
Thank you for the warning. I will talk to the rest of my companions.
The mushroom seems to sort of nod, and you then hear if you do go into the gardens, tell me what you find. I would be interested.
But of course.
And then she sort of turns to waddle off. Are you going to say anything?
No, it's fine.
As she waddles off, you hear a big commotion, and it seems like a group of mushrooms have reappeared. They're dragging what looks like the corpse of a gigantic beast with them. And they seem to be singing loudly that they've been hunting.
Okay.
What kind of beast?
It's a grick.
Oh.
Do they have any weaponry or tools on them?
Nope.
And how badly do they look beaten up?
No, they look completely fine. It's a different type of joy from the ones that were singing before. It seems to be more elation from the hunt rather than a false kind of happiness, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Can I go back to my companions and tell them all of this very, very quietly and ask them to not think about it too much? Because I don't know how far the psychic ability goes.
Well, Stool is following you like a puppy.
I asked Triss if they can read our mind, or is it just communication one way? Like, can they just put voices in our head? Can they also, like, sense what we're thinking?
I turn to Stool.
Stool responds by telling you that they can't read minds, but they can talk to anyone psionically. They are not bound by language.
Thank you.
Should we ask Stool? Because he's been here the longest. He would probably know what's happening from a different perspective.
Yeah?
What have you seen, Stool? What happens? Why do they come out happy and dancing?
The small mushroom tells you that he only returned a couple of days ago at this point, because I think you've only been free for about 4 days at this point, so he only returned about 2 days ago. He returned with Sareth.
Yeah.
She's been away from here for about 3 months. Or I think he describes it as 60 clicks of the mushroom, and he points up towards the mushroom above you, which is now sort of bathing everything in a sort of white light. But every about an hour, the sort of glow from the mushroom seems to sort of change in pitch and colour.
In the meanwhile they were doing this, could Nala sort of look closer at the Grek they were bringing in, see what killed it, if there were any wounds on it, or if it seemed untouched?
It seems completely untouched, and they seem to be dragging it to a sort of circle, and then they seem to be doing a small ceremony over it, which seems to resurrect the Grick as a servant of theirs.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Which seems to continue working.
I
It's like completely
carefully.
slaved, and it starts working by doing some digging for them.
Okay.
Can I ask Stool, how do you overcome a Greek? They are incredibly tough creatures.
I would do a Stool's high-pitched voice, but my voice is going to fuck if I do, so I'm just going to start normally. Stool tells you that they don't kill anything, they just find the dead bodies and they bring them back. They reanimate them to assist them until the bodies decay.
I see.
Okay, that's interesting.
That makes more sense.
Now, what do you know about the garden, Stool?
Stool tells you that he returned with Sareth, who was the Drow. When he returned, about maybe a third of the mushroom people here were all insanely happy for no reason, and Philo's been getting worse. Been getting incredibly happy, and the fact that he has fenced off the Gardens of Welcome, which used to be one of the sort of attractions for the Netherlight Grotto. They used to be a place of sanctuary for anyone around, but it seems to be slowly becoming less and less so.
Okay.
Where did
Al
Sarah
just
go?
says, it's a cult.
He tells you that once he was told about what was happening in Gardens of Welcome, Sareth went to investigate.
And he hasn't come back.
He hasn't been back, no.
How long has it been?
He sort of looks up at the Great Mushroom and he says, 2 reds ago, which is about a day.
Okay.
So, since I've been making friends with these mushroom people and joining their party, I want to just ask one of them whether or not they can take me to the gardens with them.
Are you talking to the happy, excited mushrooms?
Yes, the happy, excited
They
mushrooms.
tell
Because
you
they
they
said
will-
they want me to stay with them.
They will very happily take you to the gardens with them. Come, you must go to the gardens. And they start trying to lead you by the hand towards where the gardens are.
I rush over to her and like kind of grab her hand. It's like, just one moment and we'll be right back with you. Layla, if you will. And I start like dragging her the opposite way.
But wait, they're taking me into the
We'll
gardens.
go there. Yeah, yes, garden, welcome, yes. And I just completely kind of like start pulling her to the group. I'm like, we need to have a tiny bit of a talk. There's something going on.
Okay.
Your friends are too happy. So I assume we catch Layla up with what's happening.
Yes, you kind of
Yeah.
pull Layla back, and she grumpily agrees to come talk to you for a couple of seconds while these mushrooms are. We will just dance and sing while we wait! And they start doing like a, kind of like some sort of hoedown,
Uh-huh.
some sort of barn dancing while they're waiting for you.
Are they within earshot?
No, you can kind of talk quietly amongst yourselves. The only one they can hear is Stool.
Stu, if we talk and you can hear, do other Myconids also hear? Or is it just you?
He shakes his head and then tells you that they would know everything if you melded with them,
Aha.
but he hasn't. He won't meld with them till later tonight.
Till later tonight. Okay.
Well, if you're staying here, then everyone melds every night, so you can welcome to join and meld with everyone.
I'll put a pin in that. But, so you do this on a regular, this has to happen. I mean, this happens every night, right?
He sort of nods enthusiastically and says, "Yes, it's how we share knowledge."
So guys, do we want to discuss the presence of Stu?
If we can help him, I would be happy to do so.
Yes, okay.
I need to do I'm considering that I might want to join the meld, but I'm aware that as a drow, I might just traumatize them further.
You might give them like severe problems.
Yeah, so I'm a bit... Can I do a roll on it?
To do what?
To try and figure out how traumatic melding with me would be.
Oh wow.
Basically, the process of melding is that they all kind of like share every single memory they've ever had.
Yeah.
So, if you think sharing every single memory you've ever had with someone would be fine, then considering that half of the population of this town are saddened because they've shared an image of one of their kind being beaten and like forced to work for maybe about a month.
Do any of you have generally happy memories?
My memories are happy.
13
too.
seems pretty happy.
We've had a great time, haven't we, now?
We did.
But has it involved harm to others?
No, that was my cousin. He was the torturer. I just cleaned up the corpse.
Yeah.
Maybe not you either. then.
I think we should leave these gentle folk
Yeah.
alone
Yeah.
and let them have their little meld, and we just abstain from it.
I shall turn to Stool and say, "You are very kind, but we have seen things worse than what we had back in the slave camp. We have no wish to distress you."
He sort of tilts his head and goes, "But you smell nice."
Yes, and we survive, and it will be fine, but it might be painful for you.
He again just stares at you quite confused.
So, can you go get us something to eat? We're very hungry.
You hear a voice in your head saying, "What do you want to eat?"
You pick. Like, you get us your favorite thing and we'll eat it.
"Oh, I like mold." And he sort of trots off.
Okay, now we can talk.
Yeah.
So are we going to go into the garden? Are we going to try and find out what is inside it and what's being hidden and why everybody's so crazy?
Yes.
I think so. Do we all want to go in, or do we want to keep some people outside?
We could just set fire to it. That would solve it.
Very true.
Depends what's in there. Not everything burns.
Trees burn.
I do. We might.
Everything burns if you get it hot enough.
They did say that it was a very important landmark for them. I don't think we should set it on fire.
I'm with the not on fire thing. I mean, Rasthikos, you're like a tactical sort of man. What's your assessment?
My assessment is that what are we trying to accomplish here? As far as I remember, our main goal was to reach the surface.
Mm-hmm.
The other, Myconid, she is considering whether or not to take her people away while she still can. If we can give her information one way or another, that would be useful.
So this is to gather...
remembering the Kratoa city and that thing that they raised. I fear it could be something similar.
So we're just trying to gather information.
If this is something similar to Gibbledikook, I believe the Grotto city was, should we not be as far away as possible so as to not be crushed underfoot?
Well, we don't know for sure what's going on. Can I do a demonology check to see if I can see any signs of cult-like behavior or ritual behavior or something that
sure,
would...
roll.
Actually, can I roll Arcana?
Yes. There's cult-like behaviour all around you because you've got some basically crazed mushrooms clapping and being very happy, including some doing barn dancing near you.
Wow.
But barn dancing isn't cult-like behavior. I mean, sure, it looks like it, but it's more is there a tinge of otherworldly madness to this? Something that a demon would have kind of acted with.
There's been that everywhere since you started, really.
Okay. So that's
as far as the Arcana check goes, there is a sense of lingering magic sort of all around you because, as you've just seen, they have resurrected this Grek to work for them.
Yeah.
So the Myconids do seem to have some kind of natural magic to them.
But other than that, there's nothing sort of, I don't know, extra.
There doesn't seem to be anything that out of place in that regard, no.
Okay.
13 would like to go over to the ones that are digging a hole and ask them what they're digging.
Okay.
And how they managed to resurrect their Grisk and whether or not they could teach her how to do that.
They tell you that it's an ancient, binding ceremony. It's another sort of circle of life thing that they bring the dead in here, then the dead work for them until they decay fully, and then once they're decayed fully, they use the decay to basically help them grow, and it continues round that way.
So can she now spend the next 5-10 minutes, however long it'll take, quizzing them about this ritual? She used to work for a wizard, so she's familiar with rituals and things, so basically I'm asking, is there a way 13 can persuade these mushroom people to teach her how to raise dead things?
They tell you that you'd have to speak to Basidia.
Which one's that?
That was the leader that wasn't Philo.
The grumpy one.
Where's he gone?
The sneaky one who was talking to me.
Where'd he sneak off to?
I don't know where she is, but it's fine. I'm sure we can find her again soon if we need her.
Okay.
Can I ask one of the Myconids if they have salt or something salt-like?
The Myconids ask you what salt is.
Oh
not
god.
Bad for them?
Yeah, no, it's just that part of containing demons involved consecrating salt. We could create a barrier that could prevent certain energies from seeping out if it was demonic in nature. My concern is that we go into this garden and we try to find what's driving everyone crazy. Either we are driven crazy or we end up having to do something that will make everyone more sad than they are. For example, sending a mushroom to rest Violet.
So, plan A, information.
Yes.
Plan B, fire. Plan
No
C,
fire.
murder.
Plan Z, murder.
Why
Plan
murder?
Well, it's not murder if it's in self-defense.
What he said.
Why are we killing people?
We're
No,
not.
that's
We're
Plan
just
C.
discussing it. It's like Plan Z, not C.
There will be other
But
plans then.
You only have 3 pledges. You have A, B, and C.
Everything in the middle is improvisation.
That sounds bad.
At this
I'd
point,
still like-
I'm
Stowe
not good at
returns
improv.
with, it looks like several shards of lichen.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. I eat, regardless of how bad it is.
Okay. It tastes alright, it just tastes like basically lichen.
I'm like,
So
this is
nothing.
very tasty.
I don't
Lichen
know
just
what lichen
tastes like
tastes like,
nothing.
Nikolai.
I do. I know what lichen tastes like. It tastes like nothing. Just dry.
A little
Tastes like
fresh.
dried moss. Generic plant life.
I have a little.
Fulfilling
Oh.
enough that you feel slightly more energetic after eating it, put it that way.
I will eat whatever he offers me and thank him for it. Then
He sort of quite happily looks at you all with that kind of awe, and he goes, "So, are we going to get Sareth?"
not we,
Oh.
as in you're gonna stay here and do a very important job. You're gonna keep
Oh.
watch for them.
What have I to do?
Can you do? You have to keep watch. You have to make sure that you count everybody in town, right? And you make sure that you count them again. And then when we come out, I want to know how many people there in town.
Oh, I.
Can
I
you do
can't
that?
Count.
I'll show you how to count. Okay, so I take a stick and I basically make marks on the ground, and I say, okay, you make one mark for every person.
13. How about Stoll takes 13 to see the leader? There will be slightly less chance of blowing things up.
13 can count.
13
fire.
can count. This is good. So count everyone.
At
And
this
then
point, you notice Stoll is drawing small lines on the ground, going 1, 1, 1,
Very
1,
good. Very
1. There's 1!
And then when you make these many, you cross them out, and then you start again.
He
And show
not
him
enthusiastically crosses it out on the ground and then starts going 1, 1, 1, 1. And he looks at you and says, "Do I need to recount them when I cross it out?"
No, you just need to keep making those marks. But I think we have another thing for you to do. Just
He-
keep that in mind
He
for a
looks
bit.
enthusiastically at you.
Oh, I want to keep him.
Well, that is a possibility.
You feed
So-
him then.
He eats moss. It couldn't be hard. Fine. Okay, so what are we doing?
What are you doing? Yes, that's a
I
good point.
I still think we need to sort of do some kind of reconnaissance. We need to go either into the garden or near enough to the garden to try and figure out what's going on in there.
Yes, I agree.
Maybe we can ask for rope.
I have sort of a plan. We go into the garden, except only one person goes and talks to Philo. And if something bad happens, the others try to extricate that person out of there, get out, and get information to the other leader.
Yes.
But only one person can go up and talk, and certainly somebody who is able to resist psychic energies, I suppose. I'm not very good at it.
I'm not very sure how we will do it. In fairness, I'm used to dealing with a demon goddess, so I guess I could go to the garden.
And I'll go with you, but the others can kind of stay close by. And we'll try and get you out if something bad happens.
I think the other person who would be best for it is Layla.
But
Yeah,
Yes.
I would be willing. As long as we can deal with this peacefully.
yes, we'll try our best.
Yes.
Okay. So is Layla, Ishidoro, and Treese going to the gardens now?
I was more like
Yeah.
everyone get as close as possible to the garden, and if something happens, I will make a signal or something.
Okay, so you all
Okay.
head towards the garden, and as you basically find where you're going, you sort of walk past all the singing mushrooms who seem to be so obsessed with their dancing that they don't seem to bother you. And you come to the edge of the garden. The garden has this about 3 foot high, bark skin fence all the way around it. You could probably step over it if you're of sort of average human height.
So what do we see over it?
What you see over it is there's a slight smell in the air of compost kind of thing. Like, just decomposition, effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Over the top, you see hundreds and hundreds of, like, it's kind of like lichen and sort of vine shrubs, but they just seem to stretch. It's kind of like a sort of ceremonial garden, but it looks like it's become very overgrown.
I mean, is it maze-like, or can we see to this?
You can see about a good 20-30 metres before, like, there's like a wall of foliage, and then there's another passage that seems to sort of loop round.
I will keep myself at least 20 feet away from the other two, sort of between the party and them.
Okay, so anyone going to climb over the fence?
Rasthikos will step over.
13 has turned to Nal and been asked to be picked up because she probably has a bit of difficulty seeing over the fence.
Yeah, now we'll pick up 13 and she will sniff the air because you said it smelled like compost. Does it just smell like rotting plant material, or is there
It smells like
rotting flesh?
rotting sort of organic material.
Yeah, but is there plant material or rotting flesh? Because
it's mostly plant, but there is a sort of slight tinge that it's something more than... It's either something more than just plant, as in it could be flesh, or it could just be that weird type of bacteria that smells like flesh.
I mean, considering their culture, they might just have put whatever needs to return, all those dead bodies here.
Yeah.
just to be sure, Nally's just gonna rip off some piece of fabric and just tie it around her nose and mouth.
Okay.
13's going to copy her.
Could I do a dungeoneering check to see if I can tell the difference between the rotting flesh and compost?
You probably can, yes.
Is Philo anywhere around the garden, or is...
You can't see him, no.
Okay, I just wanted to double check.
Again, you're not sure if it's just the smell of certain bacteria. What's the plant that... The sort of fruit plant that smells like rotting flesh when you cut it open?
Durian?
Corpse flower?
Durian.
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 Yeah, durian does too.
They're also this huge insect eating plant that gives up the smell of rotting cadavers.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big red one. It looks like a weird red flower. So he's not here.
No.
Is there anyone else here?
There's a couple of mushrooms sort of wandering around the gardens, but again, they seem to be quite obviously lucid, happy, bouncy, smiley, singing.
Maybe we should ask them.
At this point, Stool is looking up at you and saying, "What can you see? I have not seen the garden."
Would I be able to pick up Stool?
Yes, he doesn't weigh very much.
Okay, I shall pick him up and lean him against my shoulder so he can see.
Okay. He hugs basically onto your head and he goes, "You smell nice."
Thank you, little one. But look, is this what you imagined the garden to be like?
You hear a sort of strange pause and a sort of and he goes, it's changed a little.
Oh? In what way?
It seems greener. Darker greener.
Like there might be different things in there?
Like something strange in the air. We don't glow as much as we used to, it seems.
Okay. May I sit you down now? I don't want to risk you being infected by anything from the garden.
He looks at you quite alarmed and goes, "Infected?"
It's okay. It's okay. You see how some of the others are bouncing happy and don't seem to be quite themselves.
They seem full of the joys of spring.
They do. They do. But is it spring?
He looks at the mushroom again and he goes, "I don't know."
Okay, that's fine.
Can I look for clues of Sarah? Anything bits of cloth or signs of anything? Would I have to roll awareness?
Roll awareness or roll to ask Stool if he remembers where Sareth went.
I'll roll awareness and
Okay.
see what I...
You notice at your feet an obvious drow footprint as in he's been here recently and he stood over the fence at this point. And as you look to the other side, you notice two very obvious drow footprints on the other side, and then they seem to be running towards the wall of foliage at the back.
I make sure everyone knows what I'm looking at and then start following the foot, keeping an eye out for anything odd.
Okay. Who's all following you?
I'll follow and draw the short sword, look around if anyone is unarmed.
I shall stay with Stoll. My whip and my sword are both to hand, but I shall stay with him for now.
My sword isn't drawn, but I'm just like walking forward, paying attention to the surrounding.
Okay. What is Nal, 13, and Layla doing?
Nal is sort of just looking around in the forest, and she's trying to... If I could roll a nature check to see if there are lots of, spores or something like that in the air that's clogging it up.
It'd probably take quite a fine roll, but sure, roll. You sense there might be something in the air, but you can't be more precise than that.
Yeah, so I just adjust the cloak covering the lower half of my face better, and then I follow after Ishidoro with my dagger ready.
Okay, is 13 with you?
Yes, 13's on her shoulders. She has no weapons. She has a mask, like a bit of cloth pulled over her face, because Nal did that. And I'm also wondering if I could also do a nature check, looking for sort of... when you can tell something has overgrown something? Like, when you've got ivies that have grown over a building or over a tree.
Yeah.
To see if there's something, infecting the place. Like, she's pretty suspicious
sort of
about the light.
Strangling vines kind of thing.
Yeah, or overwhelming moss that shouldn't be there, type stuff.
Roll. There's something very strange going on here. The plants seem to be slightly bigger than they once were.
Are they reacting to us walking in?
No.
Okay, 13's going to start watching them suspiciously and tell Nal to keep an eye on them suspicious plants. You don't trust those plants. Never trust plants.
As Nal and 13 get closer, I'll reach the shoulder out towards Nal and say, "This is slightly more your size, if you'd want it."
Ah, thank you.
And I'll then draw the two-handed hammer instead.
Do I reach the wall?
Yep. You reach the sort of wall of foliage, and you look around.
Do I
it.
see any signs of something disrupting the wall, or if he took
It just seems
a right
to be a
turn or
very
a left turn?
thick wall of wall ivy and lichen and moss.
Can I roll another awareness to see if our friend changed path here?
Yep, sure.
Like,
or you could roll tracking if you wanted.
Actually, I do have tracking.
So you follow the trail, and the trail seems to lead round the corner, and as you follow it around, you eventually come to this clearing, and as you look at the ground, it looks like there was a struggle here, and that the person with the drow feet was dragged off.
So I CSI this information to everyone now. There was a fight, and he got dragged off. Is Stool still with us?
No, Stowe is back with Therese.
Okay.
Now that I've gotten a short sword, I'll hand the dagger to 13.
I look back to Rasthikos and I look at him and kind of he understands the same as I do, that this, there's been a struggle here. It's kind of asking him if it's a good idea to keep going. You think we can handle whatever, dragged our friend off?
If we leave now, where would that put us?
Well, we're here to get information. There has been a scuffle. This place doesn't seem right. But we're no close to understanding why it doesn't seem right. Suppose if we find what happened to Sareth, we'll know exactly what's going on.
I agree. Will you take point or shall I?
I think you're way hardier than I am, so if you don't mind.
Right. I will remind people that I am the most heavily armoured person at this point with a chain mail crop top.
Yes.
That's very sexy.
It's very fetching.
Yep.
It's going to be perfect against 3-foot-tall myconids.
You just
Yes.
gotta kneel down, that's all.
I guess I'll move in front then and keep trying to follow the tracks if they're pointed out to me.
Yep, so if you do roll tracking.
Perfectly
you
average.
continue following the trail. As you follow the trail, you can come out of the clearing and back through some sort of corridor of foliage. And when this corridor ends, to your left, you see 3 enormous cauldrons in the distance. They all seem to be like billowing green smoke to the sky. To the right, you see the sort of drag marks continue, and it looks like there's something in the dirt at the end of the corridor on the right.
I'll walk forward and investigate.
Okay. As you get closer to the thing on the right, you realise it looks like a human or humanoid head that seems to be covered in growing mushrooms.
Can I tell how long it's been dead? Or like how long it has been decomposing?
You take a stick and you poke it. It immediately goes and it turns. As it turns, it is definitely Sareth.
Oh no.
He's still
One
alive?
of his eyes has gone completely yellow, like bloodshot, only with like sickly yellow, and half of his face and most of his back of his head is covered in these small mushrooms. And
You don't look very well.
He looks at you with like a very pleading eye and goes, Have you come to kill me?
If you want.
He just nods really gently and goes, The spores, they breathe on you, the spores.
Who? Who breathes on you, this board?
The snail man.
The snail man? Who's he?
You notice that anytime he says anything, he seems to be in incredible pain. And he goes, The snail man. I tried to lie to him. He knew. The spores. Kill me.
I take my short sword and I just jab him in the... I mean, is it just the face? Is
He's
he
basically like buried in a hole up to his neck.
Yeah, so I'll just
stab him.
down into the skull.
Okay. You stab him, he makes a sort of and then seems to sort of twitch a little, then stops talking. And then he's sort of slowly dying, he starts giggling to himself.
But he takes a while to die with a sword in his head?
He gets a sword in his head, and despite the fact that he's got a sword in his head, he just still giggles like he's being post-death animated.
Anyone else very unnerved?
13 helpful blades.
I raise my...
Wiggle the sword! Mush him up!
At this point, you hear a hello there.
Uh-oh.
And you turn around to see what is a massive snail who seems to be covered in mushrooms over his entire shell. The voice seems to be entirely in your head, and the mouth is like dripping this like thick green ichor. Have you come to assist with the union?
What union?
The union of Philo and Arumsis.
What, you mean like a marriage?
Yes. Are you the groom side or the white side?
Well, to be honest, we aren't sure yet.
Ah. Well, the ceremony will begin shortly.
Who are you,
see
man?
you're admiring our heads.
Yeah. Well, it was really nice meeting you. See you at the ceremony.
Yes.
And
Which side do you want to sit on?
I just start nudging like Rasthikos. We'll let you know. We'll send someone to let you know.
Have you got a pamphlet? And he offers you this. And he sort of nods downwards, and on the floor by your feet there's a small pile of what look like lichen with text written on it.
What does the text say?
Can you read Mushroom?
No.
Then you have
Is
no idea.
Mushroom a different language?
I imagine it's all shapes of...
No, Mike and Ed is a language.
Alright, well.
I look at it regardingly and I kind of cock my head to the side, and the patting on like Rasthikos' shoulder just gets faster.
Yeah. Can I use literacy to try to translate, even if I don't know the language?
You can, yes.
Alright.
So, roll to pick it up and see what you can think. Okay, you pick it up, and as you run your finger over it, it's like a voice in your head screaming what's going on, and you hear the words, Philo, strongest of Myconid, will wrap his life essence with Arumseos, grower of fungi, gigantic mushroom to the north. Our new generation will arise forth combining these essences. We will be stronger, hardier, taller. We will all be together in one. We will no longer require detritus or dung. And as you sort of finish glancing through it, you hear rumbling sound. And behind the snail, you see 2 or 3 very giggling mushrooms rolling this gigantic boulder of what looks like dead things and muck and shit, just rolling it around behind them. And The snail turns back to you and goes, "Sorry, if you tried to talk, I couldn't hear."
Oh, we were just reading the pamphlet.
Ah, good. Which side do you want to sit on?
We've only just arrived. Our acquaintance with the groom is rather short, but we have yet to meet the bride at all.
Yeah.
Ah, she is very pretty.
And how are you involved in there? What's your role?
I am the master of ceremonies.
I see. You're going to oversee this melding of whatnot.
Yes. And when I do, our people will be incredible.
I'm sorry. You don't look... I'm sorry if this is presumptive of me, but you don't look like a Myconid.
Although his face is literally just looks like a cow chewing cud with like green ichor just dripping down the side of it. He seems taken aback by your comments and goes, "But I am a grower!" And he sort of gestures his head slightly behind him to look at all the like hundreds and hundreds of smaller mushrooms on his shell.
Is he moving fast by any chance?
He doesn't move very fast.
Okay, and second question, can I roll demonology to check if he's some kind of demon?
You can, yes.
Something that I may have read about. Nope.
He doesn't seem demonic himself, but there's something about him. There's some sort of demonic magic about him.
Something is corrupting him.
Yes.
Does it look like this is a whole bunch of mushrooms possessing a snail man? Or is this a snail man with a whole bunch of mushrooms growing on him?
There's my favorite question.
It just seems to be a snail covered in mushrooms.
Okay.
Like
So-
properly covered in mushrooms.
Is that the stuff in the cauldrons? Is that the food for, like, the wedding?
No?
What
That's
is that?
just to get the atmosphere.
Oh, I see. Right. Very fetching.
We all breathe deep.
I don't breathe.
So, as Ishidoro and the snail discuss, I'll hand the lichen paper to 13 and ask, 13, could you run on back to Stool, hand him this. I think he'll want to show this to the other Myconids.
And I say, well, you know what? The groom was going to have a word with us, and we'll probably find out which side we're on, and we'll get back to you. So, see you at the union then, yes?
What side do you want to sit on?
We'll have to talk to the groom. We aren't sure yet.
Left.
The left? I'll go and prepare it now. And he sort
Great.
of turns round and slowly slithers away.
Right, we leave.
I'll just stab the head one more time before we leave.
Okay.
I think maybe that fire is a good idea right about now.
I'm beginning to think so, yes.
And you
I
must
saw
find your idea.
Spores in the air. I don't know if...
I'm really sorry, 13. I mocked your fire idea. I think it's very valid now. I am
It was
humbled.
Nal's fire idea.
Sorry,
Nal.
now. Yes.
Good idea.
Let's get out of here first.
Yeah, good plan.
As I see them approach, can I do
As you see them approach, you again see this, like, rolling boulder of, like, what looks like crushed corpses and basically, like, decay and mud and everything else being, like, rolled around by these mushrooms.
Okay.
There seems to be several of these.
Can I do an Arcana check? Possibly? On the returning group.
Sure.
Because I am very suspicious that they may have been infected by whatever is going on.
Yeah, I'll also tell everyone what I read, if
Ishidoro-
that helps at all.
Yeah, Ishidoro is
Yeah.
full on power walking, like, you know, anxious power walking out.
They don't seem to have anything arcana about them. Or anything more than they were when they left.
I think we need to leave.
We need to go now.
So
Bad thing.
you return to
13-1.
the sort of town.
Oh.
Are you just going to climb back over the wall?
Yep.
Yes, waltz
Jump,
over it.
jump over the wall. Just
How does Stool react to all this information?
Stool responds with, "A wedding? Why would there be a wedding?
I also tell him or give him the lichen paper that I read.
He again just reacts with slight confusion of just like, why would there be a wedding?
Do you know the other name on this paper, Stu?
He looks at it and goes, Arumsios.
Yes.
No, I don't know this one. Basidia will know.
Yes, let's go find her.
We need to go to her now.
Okay. So Stowe quite contentedly runs slightly ahead of you. I say runs ahead of you. He runs about the same speed you walk. And eventually you come to the main sort of building where Basidia is standing.
As we walk, I'll just posit the idea that I think there's, the Myconid leader here wants to expand and grow his power here in the Underdark, and they're willing to use, outsider bodies for compost to grow themselves in number.
Is that...
Very valid point.
While we travel, someone should probably ask Stool about the grower.
Just as a point of reference, I tell everybody about the slight demonic tinge that I felt about this whole situation.
Oh dear. That's just what we needed.
More.
Definitely.
Okay. So you find Basidia. What are you going to say to them?
I'll hand it the lichen paper again.
Okay. It takes it, reads it, asks you, where did you find this?
In the garden.
With a grower.
Is the grower corrupted?
It looks like a large
snail, well kept with runes.
Not well kept.
We saw no runes, only mushrooms growing on the shell. I was also obsessed with the wedding.
I fear it's got to the grower. Poor Yesterbrod. I will find my people and I will take them away from here.
Is there any way we can help you?
You see some turns around, sort of nods to other mushrooms who seem to immediately jump to attention and start running around, grabbing things. She turns back to you and says, No, there's nothing else you can do. Just, thank you. Just, yes, I have much to do.
Where are you going to go? We can help you get there.
She sort of looks around saying, I'm not sure. I will need to inquire where best to take my people.
If I may ask, do you recognize that name?
Arumsios, yes, it's the gigantic mushroom that covers most of the land.
I see. Is what's going on viable? Would that even work?
If Philo were to connect life essence with it, then it would cause some very strange reaction.
I see.
I don't know how exactly to do it. I mean, Philo's not seen them himself recently.
Where are they?
I haven't seen them in a while. They seem to live in the garden now.
I think you should leave as quickly as possible.
Basidia nods and they sort of wander off to sort of start making arrangements. At this point, you feel a sort of tugging on your leg and Stowe goes, Where's Sarah?
Dead.
Sareth want to be coming back, little one.
He's very dead.
He turned into mushrooms.
He is, but...
We need to go to Blingstone. We need to go to Blingstone. We need to go to Blingstone. He starts.
What's Blingstone?
It's where Jimjar went.
Jimjar?
Must have been one of the other
For all of you that remember, that is the gambler that you were on the together with.
Yeah, the deep gnome.
Okay. Is it close?
Yes. Not far. We need to go now.
Okay, we shall go.
So Stowe sort of leads you off, and you all leave Netherlight Grotto as half of the town are panically packing to leave, and the other half are sort of contentedly singing in the streets.
Before I leave, I kind of stop the group and I look at Nal and I say, your fire idea seems increasingly good.
Those spores sound very dangerous.
Do you think
fire solves everything?
We should do you think we should set it on fire just
the
to be safe?
garden on fire.
I think we could get some of the stuff out of the cauldron, then set it all on fire.
I don't want to go anywhere near those cauldrons.
Same thing.
Do we set it on fire before or after the others escape?
After. We don't want them being scarred by the memory of their sacred place burning down.
Yes, so we should go to this gambler.
Also, somebody needs to occupy a stool so he doesn't see it.
Yes. He's been traumatized enough.
Can I perform a check on the I know I'm laboring a point, but can I perform a check on the bottles of liquid that we have if they're flammable? Like a bit of flint, like some lichen, and experiment. The real question is dragon spunk flammable?
Why would it be?
I don't know, it came from a dragon! I don't know how dragons work.
I mean, it seems like a liability.
Could I do an Arcana check to see if the magic cauldron that it was in may have made it possibly inflammable?
You can try and see if it's flammable if you want. How are you going to try it? Are you going to just try and hold a flame up to it? What are you going to do?
Put it on a bit of lichen.
I was going to try using my arcane senses, but we could certainly try and burn a little.
Well, you can do that. I'm going to use alchemy, and I'm basically going to find a bit of lichen and then pour it on it, and then try and use flint to set it on fire.
Or you could use a stick.
Okay, go on, do your experiment then. Let's see how that goes.
I detain no arcane fire in it.
At an arcane point of view, it's not flammable. You pour a little bit on the lichen, you throw a spark onto it, nothing happens. Though the lichen seems to be melting underneath the sort of pool of liquid.
Like acidic melting?
It's kind of dissolving slightly, yes.
Oh.
Well,
okay.
Oh, it's acid peel for the skin.
That makes sense. Okay. If I had notes, I would write this down.
I will write this down.
Okay, so no fire. What's the plan? Does anyone have flammable things, or can we just go up and torch it?
Didn't they say they had a tavern?
They do.
Yes.
We should
Maybe
go
they have
there.
alcohol.
Let's find Jim Jar first. If he's been here a few days, he might have some more information.
Well, we don't have to stick together. Sal and I are good at setting fires, and I fit in the tavern.
You guys going to be able to make it back safe?
If you're going to set the fire, let me go with you, because I'm resistant to fire, so we could set it from the inside. From,
Sure.
like, inside the
Smart.
garden.
And also because fire is pretty.
Is that too...
I like you.
I will stay and occupy too.
So are you going to try and set fire to the garden?
Well, we need to go into the tavern first to get alcohol, don't we? Or see if we can get alcohol in the
Yeah.
tavern first.
Go into the tavern?
Can
The-
Stool and I go and find Jim Jar?
Okay,
That will be the other line going on.
okay. So
I'll go with them.
you go into the tavern. What kind of alcohol are you going to buy?
With the highest alcohol percentage.
They sell you what they call nectar, which they give you in literally a thimble, which is the maximum they feel they're allowed to sell it, and it is not alcoholic at all, but it's the closest thing you're going to get. When you ask why I can't get better, you get the response, "Have you seen a drunken mushroom? It's not good for anyone."
I just gave it to 13.
13 drinks it.
13 feels herself getting giggly.
There's no change there then.
But it's not
Okay.
alcoholic at all. It makes no effect alcohol-wise on you. The only
Okay.
effect it has is it makes you slightly more giggly. That's entirely it.
Okay. 13's gig. Okay. Well, 13 would like to point out, as we leave the tavern, presumably unsuccessfully, that we just need like some sticks and some dry moss to start a fire. Was there fires underneath the cauldrons?
All you saw from the cauldrons were they were massive, and they were in the distance, and they were like billowing this thick green smoke.
So I could tip over them. No, is that a bad plan?
So I just want to confirm, in this setting, I can't do what tieflings do when they just get hurt and then blow everything to shit, right?
Hellish rebuke.
Do you mean when you just catch fire?
Yeah, hellish rebuke.
No, you typically can't. You're too
Okay.
useful.
I just wanted to double check.
But I mean, theoretically, do we have the stuff around to start a fire? The old-fashioned way with sticks and rubbing them.
You probably could find some sticks and something together, but the garden is very wet. So
It is designed for
it
mushroom.
might not be the easiest thing to catch fire, but you could certainly try.
I don't like that saying.
Well, that's all the information 13 needs to feel totally confident she can start a fire. So,
It's like, right, let's get to it.
yeah, regardless, she's like, right, so when we're going to start this fire, I can start as a fire, I totally can do it. So, that's what she suggests.
Well, I'll trust 13's judgment, so...
Well, I'm going with them. If they're starting a fire, I'm going with them.
So as you guys all go looking for stuff to burn.
So where is it you're going to start this fire?
Well, I suggest we start it within the garden to make sure that whatever is going on at this wedding ceremony is not going to happen anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you climbing over the fence again and going back inside?
Just going to do a run and jump over.
Okay.
Before we do, I just tell Layla to tie some cloth around her face like now and 13 is done.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. So you're now suitably face masked and you're now all in this garden again. The ground underfoot is still not marshy, but it's still quite damp. Everything around you seems relatively damp. So how are you going to start your fire?
Okay, 13's going to want to start it near to where they found the dead guy.
Yeah.
Sarah.
Sarah.
The dead mushroomy guy.
Yeah.
And as she goes, try and gather up really dry moss, which I'm sure there might be some of about.
Little bits. There's not much, but yes, there's a couple of little bits.
Is there like fairly firm, dryish twigs? Or maybe a good bit of stone?
Not really. A couple of them, not many though. You probably get a couple of sticks, but they're not very dry. They are still quite damp because they've been lying for a while, or you snap them off trees and they're naturally got the sort of sap in them.
Okay, well, like, sort of in that area, she's going to, like, try and dig a little fire pit. And then I'm wondering if she can start it by using Dal's sword and a good rock.
If you roll natural 20.
Well, that's what we're hoping for here.
At least we'll give Sarah the proper burial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a crappy way to die.
So you dig a fire pit.
Yeah. And she's going to put, like, her kindling that she's gathered, and then she's going to tear a sort of dryish bit, a couple of the rags off her rather voluminous dwarven robes. And then she's going to ask Nal to hold her sword.
So you're putting your robes on it?
No, just a bit of my robes.
A bit of your robes, okay.
Yeah, she's got spare. Like, you know, like little rags and stuff to help keep kindling going.
Okay.
And then she's going to get Nal to stick her sword, so she's got a nice metally bit. Find a really good firm rock and bash it till she gets sparks.
Okay. Roll.
Grass.
You have a single
my
spark.
God.
What dry moss you have burns. Everything else is too wet. Nothing happens.
She looks up at the other two like, well, I tried!
What do we do now?
Dip over the cauldrons.
We could always do this the hard way, I say, as I heft the two-handed hammer.
13 raises a goblin eyebrow and like, so what is the hard way?
We go up to the wedding, or presumably to the cauldrons. You can try and tip them over. I'll be looking for the grower, looking to see how hard that shell actually is.
Ooh.
I think those spores or whatever they are in the cauldrons, in that billowing, like, noxious green smoke.
I'll rip off a bit of my robes and tie it around my mouth as a makeshift filter mask.
Should we do it? Should we see if we can still set it on fire?
Let's go have a closer look at the cauldrons.
Yeah.
As
Okay.
you kind of come round, you notice that the air between you and the cauldrons is very, very thick green, and cauldrons themselves look like they're about 300-400 meters away.
Is there fire underneath them, though?
No.
No.
They seem to just be bubbling. It's as if whatever's inside is causing a reaction that's causing this green smoke.
What happens as 13 walks further into the smoke?
Your eyes begin to sting.
Unbearably?
Irritably at first, and then the longer you go in, the more unbearable it gets.
What happens if I close my eyes and keep walking?
You close your eyes, you keep
God.
walking, and eventually you walk into a thud, and you hear a yes? Ah! Have you decided which side you're on?
I lost!
You feel like some droplets of very thick green ichor land on your forehead and run down your face.
Oh, ew.
Drink it. Don't drink.
Does it hurt?
It stings a little, and you do hear a slight sizzle.
Okay, she like wipes it off on a bit of her robe.
Did you actually yell, or did you think at the snail?
No, she would have yelled.
Right, because I think then Rasthikos starts walking into the smoke as well.
At this point, you notice several other creatures begin to take notice that there's a small creature walking around inside.
Oh my dear.
13 just sort of like, if the snail man doesn't say anything else, turns around and sort of starts like stumbling away and finds something else, like back the way she vaguely came.
Okay.
Do we see 13?
You see 13 disappear in and then reappear out. As she opens her eyes have gone incredibly bloodshot.
Okay, maybe it's time to just bail.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick 13 up and start running.
Oh, 13's like, thank you!
As this boulder rolls past you in the other direction. Yep. So, what are the rest of you doing? Are you just bolting as well, or...?
We were waiting for them to come back, and as soon as we see them, we ask them what happened while we were running away. Sorry, beating a tactical retreat.
So, traditional D&D end of everyone running away. Right, okay.
We couldn't set a fire, so now we have to run away.
It's okay, we'll come back with more fire.
At this point, Stoll is still, like, pulling on Trace's leg and going, "We need to go to Blingdenstone!"
Where is Blingdenstone?
It's in the north.
Okay. Stool, do you want to go to Blingdenstone, or do you want to go with the rest of your people?
No, we have to go to Blingdenstone. We have to go to Blingdenstone.
Okay. Have the other Myconids escaped yet?
No, they're sort of packing and beginning to leave.
Can we help them pack or something? Like anything we can do to assist? Or do we think that they'll be able to like get out?
Could I ask any of the others about Blingdenstone?
Yep. You ask a couple of the Myconids about Blingdenstone, they tell you it's where the deep gnomes live.
Okay.
If I hear that Blingdenstone is to the north, I'll mention the fact that that pamphlet mentioned that the bride's Myconid colony or mushroom colony or whichever also lies to the north. Could Blingdenstone have fallen under their sway?
They tell you no, the mushroom Arumseos is kind of to the north, to the west, to the south, to the east. It's basically an enormous mushroom that covers a fair chunk of the land.
Like the mushroom Yggdrasil.
Kind of, but it's much bigger and it spreads much further.
And the other Myconids do know of it because Stool didn't at first.
Some of them do. Those that seem to have melded with Basidia know of it.
Okay.
Can we try and calm Stool down and like see why he wants to go to this place super fast? I mean, agreeing to go with him, but like...
He just tells you it's very urgent and he has to get to Jimjar.
Okay.
Why do you need to get to Jimjar?
He just keeps repeating he has to get to Jimjar.
Okay.
Probably because Sareth is dead. Something is up.
Possibly he might feel responsible in some way for him.
Yeah. Are we taking him with us? I mean, yes, but like...
I'm not sure we have such a choice.
Yeah, I know, but
If
like
we
should we
don't,
go...
he will just run along after us on his tiny little mushroom feet.
Cold silence returns. The waters lay still, for this week at least. Join us again next week for more of our tale. This podcast is an adaptation of Out of the Abyss, a 5th edition D&D adventure. It was adapted from the original story by Nikolai Popsky. The podcast features Nikolai, Dragon, Shiraz, Freya, Susie Q, Tauno, and Wednesday LeFay. All music was written and performed by Daniel Boström. Artwork was by John Moore. And if you, dear listener, wish to acquire your own sets of finest metal or acrylic adventuring dice, then journey through the Underdark to dndice.co.uk and speak the name Penance RPG at the checkout for a 5% discount off your order. Farewell and Godspeed, for we fear the madness is closing in. Good night out there, whatever you are. Ha 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 ha.